power of the mind. Mind is the most difficult thing for us to understand. Then who is going to understand this mind? Our own mind, isn't it? Nobody else can understand it. Mind cannot understand the mind. This is the nature of the mind. Mind can understand the whole world and the whole universe, but cannot understand its own mind. So no mind. We shouldn't worry about that. Where is this mind? Now we have to refer to the Buddha to find out where this mind is. There is one stanza in Dhammapada. These sayings of the Buddha in Dhammapada, Durang Gamang Ekacharan Asariran Guhasayan Ye Chittang Samyamesanti Mokkanti Marabandhana. This is the way how the Buddha has explained or introduced the nature of the mind. Durangama runs very fast and far away. There is no end. There is no limit. We can extend our mind towards any part of the universe. There is no limit for that mind. Ekacharan, live alone. Two minds cannot live together. Two minds cannot agree with each other. No. You know very well, husbands and wife who live together even for 75 years, they have their own mind. They have their own differences, different characteristics. Two minds never agree with each other. Asariran, no formations of a body, visible or tangible object. Guhasayan, live in a cave. Now you can understand where this mind is. Runs very fast, live alone, formless, live in a cave. Ye chittang samyamisanti. Those who can train this mind, mokkanti marabandhana, mara means death, can get rid of death. Whole day and night we are trying to escape from death. But we cannot escape from death without training our mind. So we cannot escape from death by praying to God or Buddha or anybody without training our own mind. Because mind is responsible for our existence. Mind is responsible for our pleasant and unpleasant experiences. Mind is responsible for our death. Mind is responsible for our sufferings and pleasure. Buddhism emphasizes, highlight the mind rather than anything else. All the other religions in this world concentrate more on God, eternal soul. Buddhism does not concentrate on God or eternal soul, but directly focus towards the mind. Buddhism means development of the mind. The method taught by the Buddha to train the mind, not a method to pray to anybody or worship anybody. A method introduced by the Buddha to understand the nature of the mind. This is called Buddhism. On the other hand, not to abuse, not to misuse human intelligence used by that mind. So Buddhism is based on these principles. Mind is solely responsible for everything in this universe. Again, let us refer to the first stanza of the Dhammapada. What the Buddha says. Mano Puddhangama Dhamma. Mind is responsible for everything that which exists in this universe. Mano Settha, Mano Maya. Mind is the forerunner. Mind creates all these existing good and bad things in this universe. Nobody else. Then, by knowing our own mind is responsible for everything, our duty is to handle this mind, deal with this mind mindfully. So now, mind is going to train the mind. When I say, I am going to train my mind, who is that I? There is no such person in this world for us to point out I. When I am with you, I introduce me as I am, I. When I am alone, I don't use that word I. To whom am I going to introduce myself? So this is the term or the words we use to introduce, to recognize somebody. And who is that somebody? That somebody is the mind. The word man, M-A-N, man, is derived from Sanskrit or Pali, the word mana, M-A-N-A. So when you remove A, M-A-N remain. Mana is the original word. Manushya, Sanskrit word. What is the definitions of this word manushya? Manas ussannata. One who can raise, one who can develop his or her mind is called manushya. This is the difference between humans and animals. Animals cannot develop their mind. They use their instincts, natural instincts. We have potentials to cultivate our mind up to the maximum level, that is enlightenment. There is nobody else in this universe, either God or Devas or Brahmas or any supernatural living beings in this universe who can gain enlightenment. Impossible. No doubt we worship them because of our ignorance. The more ignorant we are, the more we pray to them. But when we realize the nature of the mind, it is not necessary for us to worship anybody in this world. Even Devas also worship human beings. Do you know that? Sakra, the king of God, you worship, but he worships those who have developed their own mind. You do not know that. If you are religious, if you are cultured, if you have trained your mind, if you are leading a pure religious life, Devas, even king of God, respect you, worship you. This is the mystery of the mind. You want to know the mystery. There is no mystery. There is no secret. When we are ignorant, when we cannot understand the nature of the mind or the activities of the mind, we think there must be some sort of mystery behind our mind. There is no mystery. There is no divine power in the mind. It is pure mental purity, pure mental development, and pure wisdom. Now the problem is, how are we going to understand? If not, how can I understand the nature of my mind by using the same mind? Because we cannot use another person's mind to understand the nature of the mind. That is why the Buddha, in brief, mentioned in his message, Sabba Papatsa Akaranam, keep away from all bad deeds, Kusalasya Upasampada, do some good deeds, do some service to others, reducing your selfishness. Sachitta Pariyodapanam, train your own mind. Because another person cannot train your mind. The God cannot train your mind. The Buddha cannot train your mind. The Buddha can give you some idea, can introduce a method, how to use this method to train your own mind. That is why he used the word Sachitta Pariyodapanam. Train your own mind. Don't depend on another person. Don't pray to anybody asking to train your mind, to purify your mind. Impossible. You must understand this. If you are cruel, if you are cunning, if you are selfish, you can go and pray to any God forever. 100 times a day you can pray, asking that God to remove your cruelty, remove your selfishness. Do you think the God can do that? Unless and until you make up your own mind, you have to determine to withdraw your weakness by realizing the danger of it. So many people can do that without depending on any God who can understand the nature of the mind. No harm you can pray to any God. It is not bad, it is very good if you pray. You can meditate at that time when you pray. But it does not train the mind. Then the method. To apply this method, you have to understand what are the ingredients in that mind. Simply we say mind. What is this mind? You cannot find the real definitions of the mind in any other religions. other religion teach you to surrender your mind to supernatural being. Submission, surrender, obey, listen, pray, believe. What else? They do not give any method to strengthen your mind, to develop your confidence and willpower. Surrender. What is the definition? Life is a combination of two things. What are those two things? Mind and matter. Mind alone cannot produce a life. Matters alone cannot produce a life. Both must join together. So the outcome of this combination is existence, appearance of a life. Again we analyze the ingredients in the mind, ingredients in the matter. Matters are visible, tangible. Mind is invisible and still we do not know where it is. But we know there is a mind. The mind is so dynamic, uncontrollable. Although we get the power to control the whole country, the whole nation, the whole world, yet I cannot control my own mind. See how powerful it is and how unreliable. That is why it is necessary to develop, to cultivate, to train. Otherwise, minds can ruin, destroy everything that which exists in the whole universe. Again refer to Dhammapada. Untrained mind can become your number one enemy. All the other enemies or outsiders are not that dangerous. If your mind is untrained, your own mind can become your number one enemy. It is true. On the other hand, if you have trained your mind becomes the first class, number one friend. All the other friends are not that good. So your friends and your enemies, both are in your mind. That is why it is necessary for you to handle this mind with care. Again, untrained mind is just like a building where the roof is leaking when the rains come. Because of this leakage, the whole building may collapse. If the mind is weak, if there are loopholes in our mind, that mind can ruin the whole life. Because we misuse, abuse these few sayings of the Buddha, are modern enough for you to understand how far the Buddha has extended his consideration about the human mind. In fact, the whole teachings of the Buddha is based on three pillars: Sila, Samadhi, Panya. In my latest booklet, I do not know whether you got a copy. If not, you have to collect one copy. How to practice Buddhism is available there. There you can see the details. What is Sila, what is Samadhi, what is Panya. All are mental activities. Sila, we have to maintain our discipline, our behavior, our character, moral conduct, to lead a respectable, noble, harmless human being without violating, without disturbing the other living being. That is Sila. Mind is responsible for this. When the mental discipline is there, all the senses and the physical bodies and everything follow the mind. Mind gives order to our senses and the physical body. Senses and the body cannot do anything unless they get orders from the mind. Mind always command, and then the senses and the body follow, obey. That is Sila. Samadhi. By training this mind, we gain peace, tranquility, calmness, happiness, satisfaction, by reducing fear, tension, insecurity feeling, uncertainty in our life, selfishness, greed. So when we reduce these evil forces, then naturally we cultivate kindness, compassion, sympathy, patience, understanding, and then the calmness remains in the mind. At the moment, our minds are boiling. Because of this temperature in the mind, we cannot see the things properly. We cannot understand things properly. When the water is boiling in a pot, go and peep. You cannot see the reflection there. When the mind is boiling with anger, jealousy, greed and selfishness, grudge and enmity, you have no sense of reasoning at that time. That is the danger. You become very biased, you can become very cruel, nasty person because of that mental attitude. Wait. When the water is stopped boiling no more there, go and peep again. The water is very calm there in the pot. Now you can see your reflection. So when your anger, tension, jealousy, grudge and ill will go down and reduce, when the mind is calm, then you think twice. You use your reasoning. whether it is suitable or not, justifiable or not, dangerous or harmful or not, consider. To do that consideration, you must have calmness in your mind. So, when there are uncertainties in your mind, you cannot decide anything because disturbances, just like waves, you go and wait near the sea beach or a lake, you can see how waves disturb the water. So very hard to see the calmness there. So when you are uncertain, you are going on thinking, negative, positive, to do or not to do, to say something or not. You cannot decide anything. Uncertainty disturbs your mind. When there are dust, dirt on the surface of the water, you go and see. You cannot see your reflection again. The mind is clouded, deluded, dirty by so many mental defilement, wrong concept, imagination, ignorance, misunderstanding, all sorts of dirty ideas, polluted the water. You cannot see the reflection, that means no reasoning. And you also cannot use this water because it's dirty. So when we pollute the purity of our mind, we cannot use this mind for a good purpose. Again, certain dry leaves or grass completely cover the surface of the water in a pond or lake. But the water is pure. So if you want to take a bucket of water from there, what you do, you put this bucket in the water and shake like this. When the leaves and dry grass get both sides, then you can see the clear water there. You take one bucket from there. The water is pure. Again the birds come and cover the water. So when you stop all your crazy attitude towards the worldly thing, when you stop all your anger, jealousy, grudge and selfishness, mental pollution, concentrate only on one point without allowing your senses to run here and there to bring objects, without allowing your mind to create imagination. Stop all these things. Now you are concentrating directly toward focusing your mind. At that time, you remove those dirts from the mind, just like the dirts which cover the water, pure water. At that time you maintain purity in your mind. The more you spend your time for that, the more you purify your mind, the more you guard your mind without allowing all these rubbish to come and dirty your mind. Then tension also reduces, anger also reduces. So when you maintain this physically, many changes take place in your brain cells, glands which produce all sorts of hormones, organs, heart, nerves, blood cells. Changes take place. And then many people experience the good result to get rid of certain sicknesses, because mind creates most of our sicknesses we do not know. When we maintain worries in our mind for a long period, definitely, when we maintain worries in our mind for a long period, definitely this worry damage brains, glands, nerves and stomach. When you maintain fear for a long time, very soon you gain some sort of sickness. When we maintain anger, enmity, hatred, ill will, that boiling mental temperature creates lot of damages to our own mind, our own body. That is how we experience sicknesses. So when we reduce all these hot temperature from our mind, such as tension, anger, fear, jealousy, then calmness remains in the mind. That is the second stage, samadhi. Then we gain wonderful happiness, peace. Then we have enough time to think unbiasedly, because mind is calm, very sober. Not only that, by reducing evil forces from the mind, by cultivating certain good qualities in the mind, we have strengthened that mind. Formerly mind is very weak. Mind is sick. Now that sickness is no more. Then strong. That is the time that we can make a determination. When we can gain willpower. Mind is a dynamic force now. At the moment, actually we are very, very weak. We are willing to go and worship anybody in this world. We are willing to go and worship even cow and dog and other living animals also. If anybody say, you go and worship to this particular animal, you gain blessing. You are willing to do that. See how weak you are, how you abuse your human intelligence, how ignorant you are. That is what the Buddha wanted to make you to understand, that you are ignorant. Because of that ignorance you go and worshipping all over the world to everybody, asking blessing, 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 blessing. Blessing for what purpose? What do you gain? Long life, healthy life, prosperity, become very rich to enjoy your life. Assume you got all those things. After gaining everything in this world, when your life is in danger, what do? You know your money cannot protect you. Your money cannot save your life. Your attendants, servants, relatives, friends, family members cannot save your life. What do? You go to a penniless man. You try to become a millionaire by bluffing, swindling, cheating, destroying others. You are very rich now. Life is in danger. People are waiting to kidnap you. People are willing to kill you, bluff you. You are suring. This is the way how you enjoy your life. Wonderful happiness. You cannot sleep, you cannot eat, you are suffering, you are shivering, fear is there. That is your development. Then what do? You go to a penniless man who renounces everything, then worship, then bow down, kneel down. Please save me, I am in danger. Bless me. People are waiting to kidnap me. Give me something to protect myself. Why? His money cannot protect him. But this man is penniless man. Because that man trained his mind, developed his mind, purified his mind, but he is a penniless man. But this man is a multi-millionaire. He got everything in this world, but he is in fear. This is the difference between a man who trained and purified and developed his mind, a man who was crazy for his worldly power, who did that without developing, training, purifying his mind. The Buddha was a prince about to become a ruler, the king of the country. He has seen how people are suffering, how beggars are suffering, how sick people are suffering, how old people are suffering, how people are dying. Why? Who is responsible for all these things? Why do they suffer? Is there any method to stop all these things? Then he decided to give up. With all these properties, kingdoms, I cannot gain this knowledge, this wisdom, this understanding. And then he maintained free mind, without any bondages, without any fetters and disturbances. He got it and revealed to us. We are talking about this. But our minds are clouded, polluted, misled. Therefore we do not know how to appreciate. We cannot understand what he taught. We are bound to this worldly life. We are willing to suffer from our birth up to last breath. It's a big battle. Every day and night we are going on fighting, quarreling, arguing, shouting. No peace, no happiness, no satisfaction in our life. But we are crazy toward all these things. This battle will continue for a while, as long as we exist. But we have to do only one thing, to get rid of all these problems. You can stop spending anything in the name of your religion to do this. You must know how to deal with your mind. Method is taught by the Buddha. You have to study. By worshipping or praying, offering some flowers to the Buddha, you won't get it. Mark of respect, we do all these things, very good for us. We feel very happy when we worship him. Offer some flowers. We gain consolation, satisfaction in our life. When we are paying homage to a great religious teacher who is free from all the sufferings and worries and problems and difficulties that we are facing in this world, how lucky he is. That is why he is called Bhagava. Bhagava means very lucky man. Very lucky, because he gets the first prize of lottery, every year, the Buddha. He's very lucky man. Here, lucky means he is free from all these worries and suffering physically and mentally that we are facing. He has no fear, he has no worries, he has no disturbances, he has no selfishness, no grudge, no jealousy, pure mind, enlightenment, wisdom. That is why we worship him. He is worthy of respect. We do not worship him just because he is very powerful. We do not worship him just because he punishes us if we go against him. We do not worship him thinking that he will reward us if we offer him 1 tin of milk, next birth we get 1 dozen of milk. That is the way how people practice religion. We worship him as an enlightened religious teacher who realized the human problem. He has given us advice how to get rid of these problems. If we cannot gain it, we are responsible because we do not follow. Before his passing away, in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the Buddha says, Yavakiyancha subhaddha bhikkhu samma virayam asunya loko arahante yas. As long as my disciples follow my teaching, the advice is given by me, forever there will be arahantas, holy, saint, perfect religious teachers in this world. If we could not gain it, nothing wrong with the Buddha, nothing wrong with Buddhism, something is wrong with us. It is our own weakness. Because we do not follow the method introduced by the Buddha. Then, what is the mystery here in this mind? Now you have learned the power of the mind, how to strengthen, how to gain, the following the method. But I did not teach the method. It is a very big subject. How to train it. Just like a doctor who diagnosed the cause of a sickness, the Buddha, by realizing the talent, intelligence, stupidity, weaknesses of our own mind, then he prescribed a suitable medicine for different people according to different mentality. That is the technique. One is hot temper, the other one is having sweet temper, one is intelligence, the other one is ignorance, another one is very devout, the other one is skeptical, doesn't believe anything, another one is stingy, the other one is very generous, another person is intolerant, the other one is very tolerant, the other person has no patience at all, the other one can maintain this patience, the other one is very understanding person, the other person is get deluded mind, always confusion in the mind. These are the different characteristics, mental attitude. So by knowing this, we prescribe different method, technique, way of handling this mind according to that mentality, that way of thinking, then gain the result. The Buddha can understand, we realize this. Prescribe according to our different mentalities. Then, what is the mystery? There are simple things that we experience. We gain some sort of psychic power, supernatural power. Iddhividam dibbasotang parachitta vijananam pubbhe nivasanussati dibbachakkhoti pancha abhinya. So all this dirt slowly go down and down and down and down, remain as sediment. Now if this glass of water is a dirty water, when you keep this for some time, you can see all the dirt, sediments goes down and settle down here at the bottom. We can see the dirt there at the bottom. But the water here is very clear. So, at the beginning when we practice this method to train the mind, all the mental dirt, mental defilement, mental impurities goes down and down and down and down. Then we can see the clear water, clear mind, We can use this water. But when you take this glass and shake like this, all the sediments again come up. Again dirty the water. The anger, jealousy, greed, selfishness, all the evil forces that we have controlled, submerged, subdued, again come up. Circumstances, when temptation arose, appear in the mind, then all the birds again slowly come up. When irritation, irritable feelings appear in the mind, arouse our anger, again these birds come up. So that is not the final solution. By gaining this psychic power, by developing our mind to gain psychic power and to perform supernatural power, we can reduce the sediments and dirt, can use the pure mind to perform psychic power, but circumstances again disturb the mind. This situation remains until we attain arahanta, sainthood, perfection. Below that stage, still there are some uncertainties in our mind. In the miraculous power we gain, say, through jhana meditation, say samatha meditation, by calming the mind, such as flying like a bird in the space, walking on the water, just like walking on the floor, and appearance and disappearance, and transform our appearance, we can transform into any kind of living being, such as birds or snakes or lions or tigers or angels or devils. You know, Devadatta, the Buddha's disciple, his cousin brother, who gained this individual, this psychic power. He transformed himself into a devil as a monk. Appear in front of a young prince, threaten him, persuade him to kill his own father to become the ruler. He said, I am going to kill the Buddha so that I can gain the authority to control everything. So we too can rule the whole country. Miraculous power. He gained this through meditation, jhana meditation. Because he has developed this by keeping the sediments in the mind. When craving arises, the sediments also come up. And he decided to misuse his psychic power to gain more worldly things, worldly power. On the other hand, we also can make use of this psychic power to help others, to support others in various ways. So it depends on the nature of the mind, our mental attitude. There are many people, you know, the power of the mind is such. Even in India, today there are some yogis, how he controls their mental energy without depending on physical body to sustain the life. They meditate, get into trance, psychic power, ask people to bury his dead body, not dead body, his body like a dead body. Keep for 1 week, completely closed. At that time they have invited heart specialists from Germany, America, England, Russia and various countries to study the heart condition. So insert some instrument to the heart, they found out no more heart beating. So medical science cannot say anything. How this person maintained his life, but life is there. Now that is called mental power. How mind controls matters. Mind over matter. So after 1 week, again they take out the body, it becomes very normal. The mental energy is controlling the whole system without any support from the organs. That is mental power. Buddha Sota is a divine ears. When people develop their mind through this meditation, they can attune their ear consciousness to listen, to understand any voice in any part of the universe, not only in this world. That is why it is called divine ears. We use the word divine ears. That is the development of the mind. There are no divine powers behind this. You know, there is a story in Dhammapada, a monk who received a very beautiful robe, because he was not an arahant, and he craved too much for this robe, and due to some sickness, suddenly he died. So when he died, the craving and attachment toward this robe was working in his mind. So after his death, the rebirth has taken place as an insect, bug, and living in the same robe now, attached to this one. After his death, the other monks wanted to wash this robe. So they say, all right, tomorrow morning we take this robe and wash, after that we can use it. Same night, the Buddha, he heard the voice from this robe. The voice came from that insect. Because this insect is worrying now what to do. The next day, the Buddha advised these monks not to wash this robe for 1 week. Because the maximum lifespan for this insect is only 1 week. After 1 week, that insect disappeared and died. Then the Buddha allowed the monks to wash the robe. This is called the development of the you can listen and understand what this insect indicates and express. Then Parachitta Vijanana, to understand what others think. Telepathy, mind reading, even without depending on any religion, without using the name of any god, some people are developing this. Recently in Russia, they have tested this. 2 persons who developed this mind reading. One person was sitting in Moscow, the other one is in Leningrad, very far away from Moscow to Leningrad. And they exchange their mental views, thinking. So one person record here, according to that person's way of thinking, the other person is recording So they are exchanging their views. After that they met each other, they found out correct. So they have developed up to that extent this mind reading. Occasionally we experience this, even in our case. But we do not know how we get this message. It is a mind reading. When we think of a person at this moment for nothing, there he is coming there. Yes. When you think of a person, why we did not receive a letter or any news from so and so, within few hours or the same day we get a letter from that person. I do not know whether you experience this. I had this. More than 100 times I had this experience. This is mental communication. So when you develop this, then we can directly talk to each other without uttering even one word. Now when we go and make vows, people have strong belief that devas can listen to us, support us, to get rid of certain problems and worries and sicknesses. Yes, the Buddhism never denied this. The Buddha also, in fact, advised. You can gain some worldly thing, but not spiritual development, knowledge, wisdom, salvation through the influence of any God. A worldly thing, your protection, precautions and some support from them in your day-to-day life. So, when you meditate, radiate, expressing your grievances, devas get the message. It's not necessary to tell, because they catch only mental waves. They are very sensitive, radar system, to catch the mental waves. That is how sometimes we experience dreams. Who bring them? Most of those dreams we gain through the influence of Deva. Example, somebody is planning to kill you. They talk to each other, they prepare certain things, they discuss with others. So they started earlier, but we won't get this message earlier. But when they start to talk and prepare, discuss, devas can get the message earlier. If that deva is related to us, if there is any communication with us, we get the message earlier from the devas. Appear and indicate something for your protection, precaution, to avoid the problem. The mental communication. When you read the book, what Buddhists believe, I have written I think about 4 to 5 pages about this, how we get these kind of dreams. So all these are mental communications and developments. Mind reading is not a very difficult thing. In the development of psychic power to catch that particular wavelength, whether it is short wave or what do you call medium ones, we do not know. Attune our mind to catch the waves. That is called mental development. Buddhe Nivasanusati. We do not know where we were, how we came to this world, why we are here like this. Nobody knows. Only answer is God created like this, that's all. And nobody knows why He created us like this. But we cannot satisfy with this answer. There must be a reason. when we develop this mind. We gain the knowledge, recall where we were and how we came to this world.